Hey now! What is up, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka Review King MB, and well, they made three. So I might as well had watched, which I just did. House Party 3 is a 1994 film that was directed by Epic Meza. Okay. And I gotta say, I'm a little disappointed with House Party 3. Maybe it's because, well, since I'm watching all of these movies for the first time now, and the first two I really enjoyed, especially that first one, but I even had fun with the second one. This third movie, like, I'm watching these films days in a row. So to see where we are now and the plot of this movie, I saw the synopsis and I actually thought it made sense. Because every movie you have to kind of come up with an excuse of like, what's going to be the big party and why are they going to do it this time around. So when I saw that in this movie, Kid is getting married, and that's all that it said. It said, Kid is getting married, and so Play wants to host a bachelor party for him. I said, okay, well, that's perfect. Kid is going to be marrying Sydney, Tisha Campbell's character, which makes sense because we've been following that relationship for 2 movies now. And you should have saw my surprise. You should have saw my disappointment when this movie begins with Kid with someone else. And I'm just like, who the fuck is she? Apparently, the character's name is Vida, and it's just some girl that he started dating after Sydney. Kid and Sydney broke up, and I literally talked about this in my last review, where I said, no, I want the girlfriend character to continue on in these sequels. I hate when they don't bring the actress back or they come up with some contrived excuse for why the relationship ends. We just sat through 2 movies with them. It would have made so much sense to have him marrying Tisha Campbell. Now, I was very surprised because Tisha Campbell does show up in this movie. She shows up and there's a little moment of like, oh, well, they still have feelings for each other and it's a little awkward. And of course, the fiance, Vida, is jealous of that because she thinks something might go down there. And I'm like, okay, but wouldn't it be more interesting if it was Tisha Campbell who he was marrying and maybe it's another ex who this actress was? Because I just don't really care about the fiance. I don't care about Vida. I don't have a connection to her. I don't really buy the 2 of them together. Like, how did the Kid get with her? And the actress isn't bad either, so I don't want to make it seem like I'm beating her up, but it's just, it was a disconnect. It was hard for me to really give a shit about any of this wedding and bachelor party stuff. Martin Lawrence is not here. I don't even think they reference or address where he is or what happened to the character. Instead, we have Play's cousin, this guy named Stinky. Okay, he was clearly here to fill the Martin Lawrence role, just as far as being the third man that's just with them sometimes. I didn't really get it. If you couldn't get Martin Lawrence back, then you didn't even need a third person. I will say that I got some of my biggest laughs, the funniest parts of the movie, because I didn't laugh all that much. Like, at least when it came to certain parts, certain aspects, I maybe chuckled, but I wasn't laughing nearly as much as the first 2, and so I was a little worried. I was like, oh man, this might be a rough one. But when Bernie Mac shows up as the uncle, and I thought he was great. I thought he was hilarious, and it wasn't even always necessarily the writing. It was Bernie Mac's delivery. It was the way Bernie Mac, obviously, was a surprise. But it was the way he carried these scenes, and he was clearly pulling the weight around everybody. He was clearly on a different level when it came to the comedy. He just had me laughing out loud hard. There is a dinner scene, like a family dinner scene. It's actually when Kid's family is meeting Vida's family parents for the first time, and it just completely blows up. It all goes to hell. It was quite hilarious. That particular scene, anything with Bernie Mac, he just elevated and made better. Chris Tucker is only in this for 1 scene, and when he popped up, I was like, oh shit, Chris Tucker is in this? And even that one scene, he just brought a certain level of energy, and he had that Chris Tucker delivery. This was 1 year before Friday, so he wasn't the Chris Tucker that we all would get to know, even with Rush Hour. But this, it was like, he still had that. He still had that charisma, but he's only in the one goddamn scene. He doesn't come back. So that's annoying, but at least it was there, I guess. Also, TLC shows up because I guess Kid and Play have this deal with a record label, but they have to be the go-between. They have to recruit new artists and new groups to it, I guess. And they're desperately trying to recruit TLC. They're trying to pitch them. They're trying to offer them more money. They're trying to offer them lucrative stuff. And TLC's only in it for like 2 scenes maybe. But they were great. I did like their energy. I did like their charisma. Again, not actors or actresses, but they were funny. And I wish the movie was more about them, or at least had more of them in it. Because the movie, for whatever reason, this was obviously my worst part of the film. This is what made me not like this movie as much as I wanted to. Immature. Like the group. There is a group named Immature. It's 3 little kids. Now, I'm aware of who Immature are. I remember being a kid and seeing them around. I don't know their music. I never cared to like listen to any of their stuff. I know Marcus Houston from when he grew up and became his own artist, and when he was on Sister Sister. Like, so I know them. I just don't care for them. And in this movie, it is because they're so freaking young, but they were super annoying. Every time they spoke, I just cringed, gagged, and I rolled my eyes, and I just wanted these kids off my screen. All of the pants hanging off their asses and them hitting on women, I just was like, this is not funny. And then they had a couple of scenes of them rapping and singing, and I'm like, I don't like their music. I know they're young, but the movie's trying to tell me that they're great, and I don't see it. Okay? There was a kid group around this time called Criss Cross, and they were way more talented and had way better music. I preferred them. So this just rubbed me the wrong way. It's like they were so trying to make Immature happen, and I just didn't buy it. I didn't get it. I thought they were ruining this movie. Even the whole idea of the bachelor party, and it's like, well, yeah, this is a big party. They need to go all out. And the party itself, I guess, is wild because they're older and they're able to have like strippers and whatnot. But it was Immature hosting the party, or they took over the party. They tricked Kid and Play, and they brought the party to them instead of where they were going to go. So most of this movie is Immature having the party. I'm like, what the hell? Whose idea was this? Who wrote this goddamn script? So, look, is this movie horrible? Is this movie a piece of shit? Is this movie the worst comedy sequel ever? No, it's not that bad. But it wasn't nearly as good as the first 2. I was quite upset by some of the changes, like Sydney, like I said, and Immature being shoved down my throat. Not literally, thank God, these fucking kids. But still, there was a lot about this movie that I didn't care for. I did like the music. It was the 90s, so that is my time period. That is my jam. There's a couple of things in there that got me through this. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of House Party 3? Do you like it more than I do, or do you agree that it's not as good at all? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!